Auction, never mind. Witness, state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes, my name is Joanne Garridan. And well, I'm a juror and such like.
It sounds like even she doesn't know if she's housewife or a maid. Or what anymore.
The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam?
Oh, yes, my lord.
You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth.
Oh, dearie me.
Shut up, Jenny. Giovanni. Nothing to worry about now. Good golly.
Oh, I didn't know you were here, John.
How did he get in here? The hell? Bailiff! Why did you let him be here? Oh well. Wasn't only you in the room in that day old thing, was it? Rather, think I ought to testify as well, don't you?
But what about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that. Hardly noticed it. I'm not some sort of chap to leave the comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, John.
I presume. Oh, shit, you sound like me. I presume you are Mr. John Goldenberg.
Yes, sir. Foreman, second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, sir. He never said that before. What the fuck? Seen my fair share of action and now living the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life? Were you not engaged in the incendiary battle with your spouse on the other day in question? Ah, well, yes, quite. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen sometimes.
I believe this may represent our first and proud history of a British court. Calling a juror and the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You'll recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question.
So, at once. Alright, time to begin the testimony. The Battle of Garadeb.
Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. I can't recall the reason for now. Knocked a candlestick over and set a fire to the convent. Soon had it out, though, and got the window open.
I could just imagine he's like, I don't imagine why. Because he said like the last one was like, the last dialogue he said was, like, I don't remember why we fought. He knows. He remembers why he fought. He just he doesn't say it again because he's gonna get in trouble again. Yep.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Plenty of knives around our place. I can't say I'd noticed if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid.
You should notice because it was thrown at you. You could have possibly died.
And that bloody thing in the victim's back really was one of ours. You'll have to have a job proving it, I think.
Bruh, is that it? So he confirmed that he opened the window.
It sounds as though it was quite a battlefield in your household that evening.
Hold on, I need to move my mic for just to get closer. Not closer to me, but more like closer to my mouth. So I won't have to freaking kneel towards it. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. You didn't fight back. Don't even say I have to take a defensive measure. You did not fight back. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on the battlefield, you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment. Are you still talking about the marital quarrel now?
Well, I must say, I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light of the origins of this jackknife.
In combat, one's focus narrows, such as surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end. Found 6 may be well right. Well, whatever the chances, we only have the last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mrs. Naruhodo. Yes, I'm afraid so. In order to prove our client innocent, so.
Very well, Consul. Begin your cross-examination.
Alright, I'll begin. Oh no. So far, not really any consistencies other than just the knife, which really proves like, oh, that's all about it. But I think we need to get more information out of it.
Hold it!
So what do you have to say about this one? The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe. Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of the note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garrett. A rather passionate note, in fact. But Mrs. Garrett found that note, discovering her husband's little secret. And she's not hiding anything! And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it too. But it's not a secret! It is an accident!
On a sort state of affairs.
Hell on earth! She's about to get ready. He's like, guys, please, guys, don't give me a try. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half of it was wide of the mark anyway.
Oh, a likely story.
Shut up. He ain't cheating on you. Who would ever want a fucking crescent as a fair partner? Don't even. These waters run very deep.
What transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
She's like, stop being violent and got some distance so she can start throwing shit at him, apparently. Could've just choked him to death, but no, like, I'll throw a knife instead. Alright. And the fire also spread some other items of furniture, didn't it? No case. My armature. Anything of mine, really. Just so happens that there was some bath water around the evening, so I sloshed that out to put it out. Okay.
A most precarious situation you put yourself in.
Ours is a three-story townhouse on the west side of the street, where the water main isn't connected yet. What kind of house is that? Oh my god, poor Natsume and the other freaking neighbor, because you have to get a bucket of water to clean yourself? Holy shit. Have to draw water from the public water pump during the day if you need any, you see.
The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although, that little mustache Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe.
Ah. If you can remember it, if I ever do plan on playing the second game, like in the far future, this comes in handy, but it's like a little nod to the Easter egg or something like that in the sequel. The defendant is Natsume, you mean?
Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country.
Yeah, I know. We also get that.
Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off.
No. Have you actually seen the state of the man? And also, if he really is well off, why is he living with you guys? I believe he uses all his income to buy books. Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough. Why did it keep... Wait, why did we went directly to the freaking... Why did we talk about Natsume for a second there? What? How is it relevant to the case? Or relevant to this, what they're saying right now? The fuck? Even though the room was on fire.
As far as I'm concerned, at the time,
Shut up.
it was more important to exchange my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw!
Fuck you. That is most certainly not true, Miss... That is most certainly not true. I was supposed to take that, Mr. Naruto. How did she know I was thinking that? Hey, I didn't know you were thinking that either, Ryunosuke, but she knew you were about to think that. So, Please cast your mind back to and try to remember. Was a knife among the items that you threw at your husband that night? That day? Well, that night, more likely, because it happened at nighttime.
You know, honestly, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I am no mustard.
Yes, you are. You're a beast.
Let me see some bread, a cabbage, a garlic, a towel, and a sponge, and a napkin.
Okay, he has something to say about it. He's like, excuse me, you did not throw those kind of items at me. Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garrett! Don't shoot. So sorry. I beg your pardon. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just that the barrage of projectiles, the whole thing launched in my direction. For something more solid than she implies, books, bricks, and a fire poker, if I seem to recall. Ouch! And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a dagger to the body. Ah! Good grief, woman! Good grief, woman! We're not at home now. This is a court of law.
Oh, dear me! I'm so sorry, dear.
That is abuse right there, madam. The judge is right there. He can be like, wait, is that abuse that I see? Even though he's already hearing the abuse that you already caused him. But that's abuse. Coldly fucking hot tea on your husband? Oh my god, he could just get burns from that. What's she even doing with a teapot in here? When did she get that, by the way?
Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously.
Well, take a good look at this then. How do you suppose that happened, Yeah, like a fucking sponge broke that, I guess. Your pipe, sir. And this thing in my hand, as usual, at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out. With some of the sort of one of her soft projectiles she did, yes. Well, damn, a sponge did that? Holy shit. Or was it a towel? And when I went to pick that thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. Maybe it was a hard sponge. You don't even know. Maybe it wasn't even wet. I see your pipe was broken. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I managed to bandage the thing up for now.
You're one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear?
You broke something! You threw a buck! Don't even! Could it be more? I wonder what we should make of this account. Let's make it important then. Anything can be important. The defense believes Mr. Garrett's remarks just now to be a great significance.
Objection!
This war veterans' words are only tell us one thing. Betray of a fiery wife and pipes, as well as hearts may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to a formal testimony. I think what you just said is enough to be a formal testimony. Indeed, common sense, one might say. Might one. In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? Well, I don't see why not. It's broken anyway. I need a new one, so go ahead.
Oh, dearie me. There you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady.
Oh my god. Don't even. He's not even flirting with them. And what the fuck? Am I working right now? I don't remember having it on. Huh? That's so weird. Anyways. Very well. The court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence. The pipe. Mr. Garrido's pipe. Apparently it fell off the floor during a domestic dispute he had with his wife and broke. The pipe has been entered to the court record. Okay. I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruto. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's fine. Thanks to Sasato-san. We have some new evidence to work with. We should examine it carefully. Don't apologize, Sasato. Please step in whenever you can. Please, we need all the help we can get.
Well, thank you for your rebuttal, Mr. Goddard. Now, if we could return the crux of the matter. What can you tell us to the court about the knife you used to attack the victim?
Even he believes it now. He's like, can you tell us the knife? Alright, we're gonna look at this pipe that's given. It's been chipped right here. So right here it's been broken. And you already saw what it is. There's a small nick on the bowl here. Look, it appears to have been relatively recent. And I can tell it's old because it's been used a lot too. And see how there are scraps of dents all over it. It's clearly a well-loved pipe. Yep. Well, yes, you're right. It seems to me recently that being well-loved goes hand in hand with getting some battle scars. This particular nick is catching my eye though, because it's clearly new. Alright, what's in here then? I think I don't know if you can hear, guy. For those who are watching right now, I have people over, so if you hear someone in the background, I'm sorry about that. Oh, it's something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there. Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there. I think. Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like a tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade? Surely it couldn't be. A fragment metal has been entered into the court record. Hell yeah, brother. I wonder what this fragment metal is. I wonder. This is a tiny piece of metal we found in the chamber of Mr. Gardo's pipe. It just looks like a tip of a blade or something. A tip of a blade. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruto? I don't really know. There's something niggling me. The fuck is that word? But I can't quite put my finger on what it is. Perhaps in that case, it would be wise to examine some other pieces of evidence again. We already know. So we'll be here with this knife. If we open it up again, if you could be so kind, game. It is nicked. It's not. That's why she isn't dead, because it didn't really go through her skin too much. So yeah. So we now know that the knife is part of the case. Well, their knife, because the blade was found in his pipe. And like how we took his pipe, but he still has it, like right there. Very nice on a place. Sorry, but would you care to elaborate? Not necessarily. Rather partial to a spot of carving, you see, pipes and whatnot, fishing tackle, you know the sort of thing. No, I don't.
It's a passion we both share. I like to carve like little wooden trinkets too, and then there's my leather work.
Ah. Sorry to say, we're always losing knives about the place, and we have dozens of those other things. You lose knives? Aren't you scared that one day you sit on the top of one?
Well, they sell them in the market sometimes, 20 of a piece for the price of 19. Needless to say, I snapped them up. John prefers to use knives at meals in the times too, instead of a knife and a fork.
2 knives? Wait, what the fuck? No, Joanne. Don't do it to help people. Ah! Don't go telling people that I like knives. Oh. Here we go again with the scaldings. Why are they being so evasive? I imagine it's because they don't want to believe it. They can't bear the thought that it might have been one of the knives that injured to the victim. Which is entirely understandable, of course, but still. Go on with your testimony, witnesses. Sure. Now you salute? It makes no sense. Now you're trying to copy Rolly right now? What the hell? Sir, yes, sir! Like that. So you have no intention of admitting it was your knife unless we can produce proof. Even though there is no other credible possibility if Mr. Matsume is innocent? Objection. You forget, my Nipponese friend. What did we forget? That it has yet to be established that the accused is not responsible for the attack. As if I could forget. If only there was some way we know who had handled the knife. I suppose wizardly like that is just a dream. Perhaps you're thinking of fingerprinting, Mr. Naruto. What? You mean it's not a dream? That sort of wizardly really exists? Yeah, I mean, these cases would have been solved if there was I don't know, fingerprinting. Like Natsume could have been proven innocent if like the technology of fingerprinting were actually existed. Because otherwise his fingerprints wouldn't be on the knife, it would be on the wife's knife instead. Whenever people touch anything, they leave behind a unique pattern from their skin, or so they say. But I can't see anything. There are already countries in the world where these so-called fingerprints can be used as evidence. Therefore in America. But we're not in America. This is Britain. Lordstrop is currently discussing the matter of the Ministry of Justice.
Yes, I believe we are rapidly approaching scientific methods of investigation.
But for now, we shall have to find an alternative method of proving our assertion. Yeah, I guess. But also, fingerprinting isn't always valid. Apparently, there are other people who can share the same fingerprint. And also, people could just plant it. Like, plant a fingerprint. So, yeah, that's not the kind of technology. Also, I found out that people who... It's not even technology that proves the fingerprinting. It's actually an actual person that looks at it and say, oh yeah, it matches, like, with a good eye, if we can trust that person, or their perception, or their eyesight, honestly. Anyways, but this knife found in the victim's bag was originally in Mr. and Mrs. Garrida's house. If only I could transplant his whole incident to several years to the future. Yeah, I wish that's so too. That's the extent of their testimony, isn't it? What do you think, Mr. Naruto? Well, I think we've heard all this before, to be honest. I can't say I'm particularly confident that we'll be able to prove anything new from this testimony. But in this cross-examination, it's absolutely essential that we establish that the knife came to be at the scene of the crime. Huh, yes, I know. What do you think, Izusato? I'm sure both of them must be feeling worried now. Very worried. Worried that if it was in a knife... worried that if it was in fact a knife belonging to one of them that caused the victim's injury. If we could find a tiny shred of evidence to prove that theory, it would clinch the trial for us. It would explain everything. Yes, it would. Huh. The game is like, whatever evidence you get, just present it, which obviously we did. So Sasuke-san's sake, for Sasuke-san's sake, we must find a crucial piece of evidence. We already did. Alright, all the way to the here. I think we need to present it here. Validating the following victim back. Got to be a trial proving it, I think.
Objection!
We did! We found it! Mr. Garrett, could I ask you to take a look at this, please? Well, you can ask, but I can't see a bloody thing. You can't? You used to call me Dead-Eye Deb. Back in the day in the regiment, of course, but that was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days, I have to squint now. I struggled with to tell the B from the D and the P from the Q, to be honest. So you're dyslexic?
Oh, he does. Deary me, it's rather worrying being scarce about every other letter in every other word.
Oh my god, that must be annoying. You must be very dusty. We mean be very busy. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear to be the first, what may be very, I can't appear. Speak English, Ricky. Okay, what may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap, it's in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence? It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garrida's pipe. My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got in there. How would you not notice? Actually, how the hell would you not notice there was a piece of metal in that if you were smoking it? You put, like, nicotine in that pipe, right? You will have to be like, oh shit, it's not getting it. I wonder why.
More precisely, does a fragment of metal signify, console.
I can't read apparently.
Are you suggesting that it is some way related to the matter of the stabbing of Ryo World?
Bro, what was that about? You already know. You don't need to focus. I am. What? When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe the tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord.
You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Consul. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveal the truth of this entire case?
Well, the sword itself. The sword, the knife, the jackknife. This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you will see that there's a small piece at the tip of the blade that is missing. A common issue with the inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. I buy my blades at the store. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in the victim's bones.
And one of this particular knife.
No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection.
Nope. Incorrect. Otherwise, I doubt that the freaking police or the bobbies would or what's it called? Shit, the yard? I forgot. But Scotland Yard, there you go. The Scotland Yard would actually miss that piece of evidence. No, that's not the case. After all, you always hype them up. The tip of the particular knife blade is a very fragment of the metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Gyarados' pipe.
Oh? Ah! Good grief, don't run sakes.
I've been stabbed! Someone get the ER! I don't believe it! The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of the metal are a perfect match!
Good golly gosh. Order! Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery?
It's not. This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle.
A miracle?
So Vance Seeks has figured it out, has he?
Control. Explain this extraordinary coincidence at once.
Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Gyarados' pipe? Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony.
Had his thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean with one of her soft projectiles, she did, yes. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something very solid.
Madam, you really fucked up right now.
Oh dear me.
During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Gyarados flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Gyarados, instead striking the pipe in his hands at the time. Dude, you could have killed your husband. Which caused the tip to break up, of course.
Good lord.
Yes, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Gyarados' pipe.
The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1.
And yet, there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing the tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the open window. In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Gyarados house. It's the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below.
Oh gosh! Oh dear! Oh no!
Objection!
That's enough now. How ridiculous this theory is. A full body theory. I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nepalese approach to bottling his argument. Sorry? But after all, it's just a theory. A game theory. Oh wait, that's the wrong channel. The bottle, I feel, is corked. Because you see... it's spoiled by insurmountable inconsistencies. What? What? What did he say? I don't even know what he said.
Lord One Six, explain yourself. What is the inconsistency you claim to have identified?
An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with a knife planted in the middle of her back. Yes, in her... Why do you have to slap him? The fuck?
That's right, you silly little man.
Now, Joanne, old thing, what are you getting so excited about?
Let us consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. If the knife had struck her, had fallen from above, there is no possible way it could have planted itself to the victim's back. No! Come on, Ryunosuke, don't let this defeat you. We know for a fact that it hit her in the back. And you know why? We have evidence. Ora! Ora!
Quite right, you see. That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above...
Shut the fuck up, Joanne. Jesus Christ. You're like, oh no, she caught me, he caught me. And then they go, that's right, that's right. Don't even. Now you have fucking, someone to defend you. You're like, oh my god, I can talk now. I can talk shit. No, you're gonna regret this later. You're gonna see what I'm gonna do later.
It would have struck her on the top of her head.
Well,
He's lost for words. Look.
I knew it. I never liked his theory from the first place. That's a fucking lie.
I don't know, though. What really did happen? It would appear the defense has made a rather spectacular blunder.
Here's the thing. Because we can't explain it, it doesn't mean our theory is wrong. Just because of the inconsistency. Because we still proved that it's their knife, regardless. It's their knife, and the tip of the knife is on his freaking pipe. So, it can't belong to Mr. Natsume. How else was he? So, what not... So, therefore, that itself is just innocence. We don't need to prove that why it's not in there, why it's stuck in the back rather than in our head. But, whatever. If a theory has even one consistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. Ryunosuke, don't let this defeat you. We were so close. I could see the truth. We can explain it. I was so sure we were on the right track, but now the way has been blocked completely by just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will stand. Mrs. Sato, you mustn't worry, Mr. Naruto. You were just caught off guard, that's all, and your mind went blank. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key is in the court record. I'm sure all the information you need is there. It seems that you have nothing to say, my Nepalese friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tact, acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed. Come on, Ryunosuke, speak up.
Objection!
Yes, come on. Don't give up just yet. This inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yes. If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying?
Console.
There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer.
Goodness.
Utter madness. Surely this must be the last time. Control, present the evidence of which you speak.
Alright. We already have it. You might be wondering what it is. Well, obviously. What else was thrown at her? This is the last inconsistency. Inconsistency. The final piece of the puzzle. If I successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. The evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged to the victim's back is this book.
Take that!
This, the fourth book found at the scene. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. The burnt book.
Is that not Mr. Garda's book?
Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene of the crime in the first place. This photograph print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand. But as we all now know, it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that.
Why so? As part of the wholesale transplanting of the crime scene of the opposite side of the road.
That's true. However, as part of his testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. Sorry. But what made you place the book in the victim's hand?
Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. When we first ran over to the scene, the victim had already been holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
In other words, the victim had already picked up the book on her own volition. And clearly, that must have been before she suffered the knife wound.
Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she had been doing such much of anything.
So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand?
By jingo! I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now.
Oh, dearie me!
What about you, Bansies? We know that the book fell from the top floor of Mr. Garudub's household onto the pavement below. At precisely the moment that the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly that moment. The young woman was walking along the street in the light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her.
A book I threw?
Yes, Mrs. Garudub. And what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement?
Well, I really can't imagine it. I would walk past, but I suppose she might have reached down and picked the book up?
Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book.
Oh heavens!
Oh my god. And when the woman reached down to pick up the fallen book, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Poor woman. Then in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book, the knife fell and stabbed her. The next object fell from the room above, the jackknife, straight into the middle of the woman's back. And at the same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant Mr. Sasuke Natsume.
Well, I never.
It appeared that to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. In the dark and the fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above. And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker.
So there was never a real. So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place.
No, there was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in the unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind this case. Wow. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garrida. Just gonna pour tea on him, aren't you?
The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions.
But you kept on being in denial and started still blaming an innocent man?
I wonder if perhaps it might have been something like that.
Yeah, that would be.
Poor Mrs. Garrett. No! No, not poor Mrs. Garrett. He tried to pin the blame on the guy instead of herself. No. I know she not did that on purpose. But she could have still seriously got Mr. Garrett hurt. Her beloved husband. So don't even.
Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but
I know, but you still had the intention to be mad at him and still hurt him. Come on. I don't like. Come on. That is such an abuse. I'm surprised. Like it's not like I don't know. She's not being charged for that right now.
It was all my fault, wasn't it?
Why are you angry right now?
I take full responsibility.
Now you take full responsibility, even though you had your suspicions and also thought, this knife looks familiar and might be mine.
I'll let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book. I did it, and I threw the knife as well.
Oh, now you're saying you threw the knife.
John, dear.
That's alright. I know.
I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Let her fall. Oh shit. He's like, oh, I must persevere. Oh, he got burnt in the back as well. I did not notice that.
Roll 1-6. What a news of Mrs. Garrett.
She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events had left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause of good for concern. Oh, you do care.
Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could have easily have been a terrible tragedy.
Yeah, imagine if she didn't threw the book and just threw the knife. She would have been dead. Holy shit. Or actually, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't really, since the dent of the knife was broken, so like the tip of the knife, it would have just like I don't know, probably knock her out. I guess I don't know.
They should have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions.
What kind of? Because that is like how would that go? Would the consequences be sued? Like the Miss Green sue them, or how would the consequences? What are the consequences? What's the punishment for that? There is some good news, however, my lord. I have just had my word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon. It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never once met her. How wonderful. The woman is out of danger, it seems. Yes, that is good news. Imagine like if the if Miss Green woke up, she's like, I know what happened. I know what happened. I've been stabbed from above. Not from a man. Imagine she knew the truth and we like still made Mr. Natsumi be going all through this trauma. Oh my god.
So, Mr. Sosuke Natsume.
He's so. Yes?
On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies.
That's not gonna make up of the racism that he was put through from the jury and from the audience. Not even close. Not even fucking close.
No. It is me who should be begging for your pardon.
Oh no, Mr. Natsume. Wait, why would you apologize? You did what any man would, or any person would be. If you see someone get stabbed, you'd be scared and just run away because you assume the attacker might be nearby. So come on, you did everything you could. It takes a different kind of breed or different kind of person to actually step up and like help the person. But you did what any normal human being would do.
That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again in my confusion.
What conclusion, sir?
I was sure that the woman was dead.
Yes, Constable B.N. said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed too. I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. I guess. She's like breathing still. She's passed out. But then he's like, he's dead! She's so fucking dead! I gotta run! He's like, it's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to the life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me. Poor Sosuke-san. His imagination really has got the better of him. Yes, poor man.
So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires.
No. It's not you. It's the court. And the fucking two Garadevs that didn't want to confess, honestly. They're just like, I don't want it. I'm in denial right now.
And for that, I am truly sorry.
She's like, should we even apologize? Like, should we accept the apology?
One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by this spirit and led to false conclusions. But thanks to Lord Von Six and our young lawyer here from the East, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend it. Commend you both.
Oh! I'll take this praise and not say thank you, but I will say thank you after because I don't want this Nipponese fella to know that I am such a good person. I hate him, but I don't want him to know that. Or no, to know I'm a good person.
Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court?
As a foreman of the jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion. I do declare the truth can be extremely cruel at times. Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting in the old bean while she's an out of action, you know, but I know what her decision would be. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get back out of here and start work? Well, it's about time.
I say, I'll have a quirk of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I?
Very well. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
The fuck? That's how he sounds like? I didn't know.
Not guilty.
Good thing I don't live in old London. Because otherwise I'd be thinking that everyone was rich because of how they wear their clothes. Because honestly, apparently like the guy who works on the pavements are like, he's dressed so fine. I'm like, he's supposed to be rich. He must have like a good job. But no, it doesn't pay him well. So I don't know why I just like, out of everything, like they all seem rich to me.
Very well. Mr. Sasuke Natsume, I hereby pronounce you not guilty.
About fucking time. Yay! And finally, we deserve these fireworks, unlike last time.
And finally, Mr. Natsume,
Oh, yes, hello, sir.
you are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me.
It's not his fault. You put him there.
Oh, yes, sir, of course. On my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. I am transported to tears.
Thank you, consuls. Court is adjourned.
I'm calling. Oh, I should call that. I'm like thinking, what should I title this for the YouTube? The fog has been lifted. That's such a good YouTube name, I think, for this kind of thing, and that way it won't really expose what really happened. But anyways, do Old Bailey defendants enter chamber?
Oh, look 'em.
It's called Ryunosuke, but okay. Wait, you mean me?
Of course. Is there another locum here?
Is there even one? Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it? What's wrong with using my actual name? Oh,
Alas, I'm free. I'm free. Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation. Heady, hearty, happiness, hurrah.
oh, I am pleased, Mr. Natsume is delighted. Would it be so hard just to say that then?
Locum, you did it. You have saved me from the brink.
Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. I'm just glad that everyone can see that now.
No, not that. Lovely, lawyer, locum, lawyer.
Yes?
I mean, as I said before, I have just never got used to the life here in the Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings. And from a high up windows, I see them looking down at me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback.
Oh dear, I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume.
But today, you locum lawyer gave me my gloom the boot. You stood firm behind the baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare a baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister ever born!"
Well, that's a very flattering, but we're very pleased for you.
He has given me a wonderful antidote to recount to my old friends back in Japan.
Your friends? In Japan? What, bro? Really? Okay. I'm sorry. An antidote? Is that what's to become of all my hard work? Ah, there you are! My dear fellows! I knew it. I assumed it was gonna be him. I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes! What a pleasure to see you!
I see, I am here. Not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted. I'm glad to say.
Oh,
The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruto, and I wish you the very best of luck.
it's just finished.
What? No! Then my haste was in vain.
Oh, it's you, Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, how we met, sir?
This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have been taking place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or your prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming.
This is all your fault, Herlock Sholmes. You're the reason I had to go through the terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind.
My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. What do you mean by that? You're the fellow who abandoned the poor young lady and ran off, are you not?
Oh,
Had she been taken to the hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now.
oh,
But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human, after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience.
I do feel very badly about how I behaved.
Well, never mind. Now then, what was it that you wanted to say to me, sir? Bro, you made him feel bad so he doesn't want to give his piece of his mind.
Nothing.
Precise! Priceless! Oh, I am sorry. Really, but... that was quite priceless. Poor Sasuke-san. Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty.
But there is no bright side.
What do you mean, Mr. Natsume?
Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and now by the Reaper.
Ah, Lord Van Six.
I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you're found out guilty, you're still doomed.
It will be alright, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you.
Hi, why me? Why me again?
With a perfectly executed Susato takedown. I am starting to think that you are kind of similar to that maid with Mrs. Garrett, Susato.
Much as like being turned on my head for a bit of warning might be nice next time, Mrs. Sato. I'm like, he's like, ow! No, he's like, brother, why are you throwing me? So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences with your friends back in Japan. Like he still looks behind him like someone's watching him.
Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon.
Oh.
It was already been a year since I arrived here in the Great Britain. I visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of the professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of the literature here and the city it has shaped. And I've come to realize that it is all my calling to sail home to tell my fellow countrymen about it.
That's very touching, Mr. Natsume.
Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse.
That's not it at all! Maybe though. The more I learn of literature, the more this strange feeling claws inside of me. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt a work of my own.
Oh, I see. A work of literature by Sasuke-san. Could be an interesting read. I wonder. And there he goes. Getting ready to get stuff ready. And what about Miss Susato and yourself, Mr. Naruto? Sorry, what about us? Will you return to Japan alongside your mustache compatriot? We just got here! Why should we? We just got here! It's been 4 days! A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though I have finally found our feet. And you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not? That's right, but we need to find a lodging before it bankrupts us. I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
Well then, you could take my lodgings.
Oh, the windowless room.
Oh, but what it lacks in windows is more than it makes up for the floor and ceiling and walls.
Great.
And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit.
Oh yes, it tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call.
Well, think about it. We'll think about it, if that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me? Really? She's freaking out right now. Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it's up in the attic, I might add. Are you sure it isn't a storage loft? I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of. Oh, this is simply wonderful! What an honor to be invited to taking lodgings in the great detective's office attic. I'm too overcome for words. So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then. Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsumi. I insist.
I don't know what to say, but thank you and yes. Even though you got me into this situation in the first place, I am honored to go with you.
Oh my god. Wonderful! Then I'll go and complete the paperwork of your form of release, Mr. Natsumi. I shan't take long. Somebody's happy.
Look, I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London.
Likewise, Mr. Natsumi. It's been a privilege meeting you too. It's a shame that we're going to have to say goodbye so soon. We'll see him again, maybe. Well, I will. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about Ryunosuke, but...
Well, I've come to realize that I'm belonging in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day.
Yes, I'm sure. And hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer.
Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author.
Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruto? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I have little doubt Mr. Natsumi will be released in time for dinner this evening. And so, with Sasuke-san's innocence successfully established, we rode to Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street. Hell yeah! I'd be like also honored to live with him. I'd be fangirl like, I'm in the attic of Herlock Sholmes! Like that, like it became Susato-san. 20th February, 4:41 p.m. The attic room. Is this the same day? Or is it a different day? No, it's the same day because they just moved in. So this is to be our new office, yes. Our office? I bet I like the sound of that. Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it? Right there will be the table. Right there will be your messy office. Right here will be my office in Japanese style. And I'm just kidding. I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step. But I like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now. So, my dear fellows, do you like the place? Ah, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, thank you so much.
It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good, good. I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you.
I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We have a lot to celebrate. Iris, you must let me help you. Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Splendid.
And they leave. And I'm here stuck with this guy. Rina's gonna, oh shit, I have to live with this man for the entire year? Oh god. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel to have your own office in the capital? It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wondering what adventure awaits us. You're living with me! Of course you're gonna have a lot of adventures. Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry? London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. Just like America before, but oh well. But the brightest of lights casts the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're all well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London. And it does feel like a proper introduction to this place, honestly. Of course, at the time, I had no idea what the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. But it was so long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. And honestly, that only has been revealed in the next game rather than in this game, honestly. But that's it for this episode of this case. The next case we're gonna be doing is gonna be the final one, and not only it's a final one, it's a pretty long one. This episode 4 was my favorite out of this game, and this is episode 5 is my second one too. But regardless, it is a long one, and hopefully you'll stick around for it. But until then, have a great day, y'all, and I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye. What does this button do?